Hi, Thomas Brinsko here, publisher of BIC Magazine and BICmagazine.com, bringing you the top news of the week. Everyone's talking about inflation right now, the highest it's been in 31 years, and no surprise to you, the cost of energy is a major factor in that. Matter of fact, gasoline prices across the country reported to be 36% higher than they were a year ago right now. While those numbers were coming out, several on the Democratic side of Congress are pushing the Biden administration to reinstitute a ban on the export of United States produced crude. The thought being if we kept the crude in the United States, we'd have more gasoline in the United States, which would bring the price down. Works fine in theory. However, I'm old enough to remember that when Obama reversed a 40-year ban on the export of U.S. crude, prices actually went down. And IHS Marketplace, a national group that really looks at critical information, not just for energy, but for all sectors of the economy, they just released a report last week that kind of reinforced the fact that the unintended consequence of banning U.S. exports of crude would actually serve to increase the price of U.S. gasoline, not decrease it. There's several reasons for that. I think the first and most straightforward is the capacity of U.S. refining for the various types of crude. Not all crude is created equal. These refineries are designed to handle particular types of crude, and by banning the export of crude, we are forcing our refineries to make very expensive additions and amendments to their facilities to be able to produce gasoline. And this is just going to make the cost of gasoline more expensive when they have to have capital expenditures to produce it in the first place. Also, our refineries operate at a very high capacity already. It's illogical to me that we'll be able to absorb another some 3 million barrels of crude per day immediately into the system, and it's going to have an unintended consequence of raising the price of gasoline in the U.S. The second factor, geography. A lot of the crude that we export currently comes from central United States and Texas. We do have refining capacities on the East Coast and the West Coast, so if we want to get the crude from Texas to the East Coast or the West Coast, you're going to need to have pipelines for it. And there are no major pipelines from the center of the United States to carry crude to these refining centers right now. We know how much the Biden administration loves pipelines, right? Third factor is sort of a macro supply issue where we want to encourage the drilling and production of crude in the United States. We all agree we'd like to have more crude to bring the price of oil down. That's theoretically why they want to ban the export of crude. But if I'm an E&P company, an exploration and production company, and the price of my crude is artificially lowered because I can't sell it in the marketplace, I can only sell it to U.S. refineries that aren't configured properly to take my crude right now, that's going to disincentivize the production of crude in the United States, and it's going to have a significant impact worldwide. And that's the last factor that IHS Marketplace brought up, that really the price of U.S. gasoline is more tied to the international price of gasoline and the international price of crude. It's a fungible commodity, not a limited commodity to the United States. So it's not real easy for us to pull ourselves out of the system. If we did decide that we weren't going to export that 3 million barrels of oil, crude per day, that's going to have a shock effect on the rest of the United States, and it's going to have a detrimental effect about what people think of the United States as a trading partner in the future. So complicated issues. The best thing we can do is overall encourage free trade and the free and plentiful exploration and production of the assets that we know that we have in the United States, and we will make American energy great again. Stay tuned, and if you're not already following us on LinkedIn and Twitter, please do so. God bless.